A new week and a new show on the Hegde Everyday podcast, and today it surrounds the topic of cricket, the topic of English cricket, the topic of the English captain, or the former English captain, I should say now, because Ben Stokes, the man that we love all, despite me being an Indian fan, has, of course, officially retired. It came, of course, in the third test against New Zealand, which they ended up losing. More on that later, and I'll tell you about how sensational New Zealand have been because they did beat India 3-0 last year, England this year, and if they go do the Holy Trinity and beat Australia next in Australia, that's something for the Kiwis to take going forward into their next generation. Remember, Ben Stokes has retired. Tell me how you guys feel about it, how it sits with you as a cricket fan, because this is a guy who never made cricket dull, not for a second. On the pitch, off the pitch, I absolutely love Ben Stokes, and I've been following him for a while now. 15 years he's played international cricket, and he's had his ups and downs, and he's had some of the most amazing feats as a cricketer, let alone records, let alone moments on the pitch. So I want to spend the next 10, 15 minutes appreciating Ben Stokes and what he's done for world cricket, because here I am sitting in Bengaluru, India, basking about an English captain who's not even the most successful test captain in the game's history. But what he did was lay down a marker. What he did was stamp his authority with Baz McCullum in the last 4 or 5 years to see some scintillating cricket to be played. And I was looking at various Sky Sports videos today, yesterday, and they had some amazing stats in the Bazball era. Stokes won 27 out of 50 games, I think it is. So not the biggest and best win ratio, but what they did in those games and some of the margins of victory was phenomenal. And they did, of course, beat India in Hyderabad once. They did get one win under the belt against Australia as well. And more than anything, they've dismantled oppositions over 10 times. They've chased targets of 250, and they've obviously had the hundreds to show for in very, very quick time, let alone the run rate, which is close to 4.5 in the last 5 years of Test cricket. Now, all of this sums up not English cricket, but the mentality of Ben Stokes when he got the job. He took over from Joe Root. English cricket was a little low and down. They needed a little breath of fresh air, and Ben Stokes came along, and he came along with an absolute message saying, here we are to play cricket. We're not going to be making anyone feel bored in the stands. We want to put bums in seats. And they did that to a large degree. I mean, you look at what preceded this Ben Stokes captaincy era, it was shocking from England. They had to make wholesale changes. If you remember that England-India series, which technically we ended up losing that one-off test because we came back after the COVID tour, you could see that the writings were on the wall for a lot of those players. You look at the openers, for example, Zach Crawley, and I think they had Dom Sibley as their openers. Both of them had to kind of go away. Zach kept his place, but then eventually he got the axe as well to the fag end of Stokes' era. And they had the people for the job. Obviously, the introduction of Harry Brook in the Ben Stokes era just gave them the catalyst that they needed in Test cricket. Of course, they had power players in Ben Duckett. Bairstow came and went. Stokes himself had lots of things to say in terms of his form when he started off captaincy. Obviously, it's dwindled away, and I think he put that down as a key marker of why he wants to hang up his boots and why now as well, because as you can see all the interviews online with the ECB or Sky Sports, or even if you hear some of the English experts and ex-players speak, they've, of course, circled this series being the one that, of course, created all the headlines for the wrong reasons. And then it was inevitable, some would say, with regards to Stokes breaking his own curfew as a captain. And it just makes you think about how it's going to go forward for not just Ben Stokes, but English cricket, world cricket, Test cricket. And that's the topic of discussion. And as the thumbnail suggests, we've lost another hero. Let's make no mistake, we've lost another hero in Test cricket. Here's a man who is flying the flag very high, not just to represent England or New Zealand, but Test cricket. And Test cricket, I don't want to sound like a 90s kid, but I am one. And even if I ask young kids today, and the proof's in the pudding in my Instagram, I just did a video, literally go check it out, 1.3 million views. A boy playing cricket close to my house, and I asked him, listen, put in an order in terms of your preferences for cricket. Test cricket, T20 cricket, ODIs, and IPL. And you'd be amazed to see what he said. And I'm not sure if you guys saw that reel, but if you guys did not, here's what happened basically, because he said Test cricket, and here's a 15-year-old saying Test cricket is the way forward. Sure, he would have spent his boyhood in that peak Virat Test captaincy era, but if you look at Test match cricket generally, it does get the romantics of the game involved. Sure, there is an influx of the T20 crowd. Lots of people have let that ship sail past Test cricket, but if you actually break it down, you want Test cricket to kind of just be there for all eternity. I understand it's not like how it used to be when I started watching it. Games hardly go into day 5 right now. Games are getting done in day 2, day 3. People are attributing to pitches. People are attributing to the mentality of the batters and their shot selection, because a lot of batters who obviously play Test cricket also invariably play T20 cricket. So it's about the patience game. It's about determination, grit, putting in all that hard yards out there in the middle. And there have been a lot of players who we've seen like that in yesteryears, but even nowadays, a few have retired. And not too long ago, Pujara hung up his boots, Kane Williamson hung up his boots, and all of these guys are anchors. They are absolute masters of Test cricket. And I say that because Test cricket sometimes is boring, but if you actually are into it, you're doing a lot of things that people actually won't be able to really materialize and quantify. For example, if you're an opener and you're playing Australia in Australia, packed house, first hour needs to be seen off. Now, only cricket fans would understand this terminology and lingo that I'm speaking. Now, even if you look at what Virat Kohli said about the 2018-2019 series in Australia, he said it's not individual performances, it was a collective performance. But if he had to pull out performances, he'd pull out performances like Hanuma Vihari and Mayank Agarwal blunting the new ball. And they were like 6 of 57, 11 of 80 or whatever. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't a beautiful knock, but it was just hanging in there, showing resistance, showing some sort of vibe over my dead body. And that's what Test cricket's all about. And people like Ben Stokes, people like Virat Kohli, people like Ravichandran Ashwin also, to be fair, have been bearers of Test cricket in the most brilliant way possible. And they did it originally, authentically. You look at how Ben Stokes captained England, let alone played for England when he pulled off that Headingley heroics in 2019. He's always one to wear his heart on his sleeve. He's always one to give it his all. And that's the common theme that you see with a lot of these players who we kind of gripped and glued ourselves in front of the televisions for. Virat Kohli, another name which many people thought it's a premature Test retirement, right? People even said A.B. de Villiers' retirement in general was premature, let alone his Tests or ODIs. So when great players come and go, it's about understanding where the game is going to go forward from now. Because when I was growing up, Rahul Dravid was my number 1 Test cricketer, right? He still is my number 1 Test cricketer. And after that, obviously seeing a transition phase in Indian cricket, seeing how Virat picked up the mantle of captaincy from MS and then took it to the greatest of heights we've ever seen Test cricket, is what makes Test cricket so amazing for kids around this country. And I'm pretty sure Ben Stokes has had that feeling in the UK, because even if you look at how the crowd was so receptive, it was brilliant. And this is why I love this game. This is why I love sport. Hot afternoon, day 4, England are going to lose the Test match. Here's your captain saying, listen, I've had enough. I'm going to be retiring. He comes out to bowl, bowls his first ball, gets a wicket, crowd goes ballistic, everyone's singing Stokesy songs. And that's what he's going to remember for the rest of his life. Sure, he's going to remember his knocks and his spells and that Headingley heroics. So various great moments in his Test career. But it's about things like this which will always resonate with Ben Stokes. And he's made a huge, indelible mark in Test cricket. People point out at his aggressive style of captaincy, his clutch performances. And I would like to say his clutch performances across international cricket has been there to see. T20 World Cup, ODI World Cup with that super over, and then the Headingley heroics. And Ben Stokes obviously gets the credit that he deserves. And why not? Because when you talk about all-rounders, in this game, in this format, you automatically talk about Jack Callis. You automatically talk about the top four in the 80s, Kapil Dev, Ian Botham, Dennis Lilly, Imran Khan. But now, when you look at modern day all-rounders, I bet every person who watches cricket in the world will have Ben Stokes is their one or two or third name. It has to be that, because sure, no disrespect to any of the other current international all-rounders, all the guys who just kind of retired, Ben Stokes is right up there for me. With Ashwin, with Jadeja, Ben Stokes is 100% owning that tag of the best all-rounder. And I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him a lot. I've been following Ben Stokes on and off the pitch. Of course, took part in the IPL and really loved him for RPSG, weirdly enough. Didn't get his due with Chennai later on, and hence he kind of took a backseat with the IPL, with captaincy being his main priority for England. But essentially, he's been a gangster, bro. He's just been a rock star. He's been one of those guys you'd want to look up and be like, I take my hat off to you. Because I'm not just talking about the Rex rooms and what happened with Gus Atkinson and the rugby team and that whole fracas, but talking about even the previous incident where he was caught punching someone outside a nightclub to defend one of his mates. Shows the real character of the man, shows the fact that, fine, I'm playing cricket, I'm one of the most famous men to walk around in England, but right and wrong, black and white, he will stand up for his teammates, he will stand up for his mates. And that's my main takeaway from Ben Stokes. For all the great things he's done in the cricket field, as a person, seems tough as hell, seems a rhinoceros in terms of his thick skin, attitude, approach on the field, off the field. And he's been such a great inspiration for the rest of his teammates, but also for the rest of world cricket. I'm not joking, guys. I cover a lot of academies. I walk around cricket stadiums, and Ben Stokes is really, really admired in India. Let's, of course, call out the facts. There is one cricketer who stands head and shoulders above everyone in terms of Indian appreciation, and that's AB de Villiers. And then you'd probably have a David Warner with how he was so in such a big part, I should say, of the SRH family at the time. But then after that, Ben Stokes, even though he didn't have crazy IPL games or wasn't there with one team, he's made an impression through the youngster, for the youngster of this country, just through his leadership, his off the field heroics, on the field heroics. So there's a lot to write home about Ben Stokes. And even Virat Kohli said in a press conference or in one of the shows recently that his favorite ever his favorite cricketer right now is Ben Stokes. And that won't be there because, of course, Stokes is retired, because it just makes you think how Test cricket is going to survive. There's always going to be questions about Test cricket surviving. Should we reduce the format, reduce the days, make day and night cricket? They've tried everything in the book. There'll always need to be the players who stand up and then take it forward. Now, Dravid fans, Sachin fans, Ganguly fans, Lakshman fans, I loved all of them. And at that point in time, 2011, 2012, it was a really dire time to be a Test cricket fan in India. MS Dhoni captain, won the ODI World Cup, but everyone knew MS Dhoni was not the best Test captain out there. Let the emotions kind of got the better of him, let the game flow rather too much, wasn't as proactive. And who am I to say that? I'm just an armchair critic. But at that point in time in Indian cricket, there was an injection needed for someone to come and grab the collar and be like, you know what? This is the hardest format. This is Indian cricket. And we're the biggest in terms of the power we have, the personnel we have. And Virat took that and meant it. 2014, he got the reins in Australia. And from there on, those 6-7 years, as a Test match fan, I was absolutely chuffed. And chuffed is an understatement. Buzzing. I just knew it was almost being cocky as an Indian Test match fan, because obviously at home, we would do the business with Ashwin and Jadeja. And it wasn't as crazy the pitches are right now. They still had to bowl and outskill the batter, which they did. It was a peak of Ashwin. It was a peak of Jadeja. It was a peak of Virat Kohli, the batter, peak of Virat Kohli, the Test match captain. So there was a lot of things going right for Indian cricket, which projected Test cricket into another status. And when I talk about Virat Kohli generally, I miss him the most in Test cricket. Sure, he's going to play at the IPL for another couple of years, maybe hopefully more than that from a biased point of view. But that's why I love Test cricket. And that's why I've always loved Test cricket, because there's drama. There's real fight, real men showing their skills out there. It's not 20 overs aside here or 20 overs aside there. You can't lose a game in Test cricket. I mean, you can lose a game, but you can't lose a game like how you lose a game in T20s, right? That's why I think Test cricket needs characters like Ben Stokes, Virat Kohli, Kane Williamson, Ravi Ashwin, Rohit Sharma. Now, all five of them have gone, guys, have gone. Let that sink into your minds as a cricket fan. I look at the World Test Championship, and sure, any test match is on, I will tune into it. Whether it's a little passage of play, whether it's a little session, I have it in the background, no matter what. So much so, Sri Lanka, West Indies is happening right now, and it's coinciding with the FIFA World Cup. So I was watching a couple of games of the ODI series, but the Test series I'll be locked in. Not as crazy as an India-England series, but I'll still be locked in. There's Australia-Bangladesh, which is happening in Australia. Now, that's a historic series for Bangladesh in one way or the other. But I'll probably tune into that. I'll see the highlights of it. I wouldn't be completely stranger to it. But it's slowly going. And you need a new person to enter the cricket world almost and be like, hey, you know what? There's all T20 and IPL and slam bang cricket happening, but Test cricket, we need to make it kind of ours. And I look at the current Indian Test team, and it doesn't really give me that vibe. Sure, we saw a blockbuster for series last year, which ended 2-2 with England and India. Shubman Gill's first Test series as captain. And I liked what he brought to the party, even though he wasn't being a Virat. And you should just be yourself and not really look to fill in anyone's shoes. But you remember that time where he was looking at the English openers right in their eyes saying, you guys have the balls? You have the balls? Show me the balls. So things like that will interest people much more. I'm not saying you always need that kind of drama or sledges or bad words to bring people into the game. But sometimes cricket speaks for itself. I mean, you've seen in this World Test Championship, 7-8 years that we've been witnessing it, there have been some crazy games going down to the wire. England, New Zealand, I remember Anderson pulling one of Wagner, getting caught down the leg side, them winning by 1 wicket. Siraj, of course, winning it for India at the Oval. So Test cricket will always have its mad matches where we sit back and take notice and be like, you know what, that was one hell of a game. That was amazing in terms of an investment for me, because 5 days sitting in front of the TV, I don't mind it, but people want to be what's the right word? They want to kind of just be valued for their time being spent in front of the TV. And sometimes it might not come to fruition, but sometimes it does. So, look, I might be tangenting right now, but the main topic is Ben Stokes and him retiring. It does, of course, not bring a tear to my eye. That's pushing it, but does make me think about the larger context, the format, which is Test cricket, and what this man did for it, what he's been doing for English cricket for all these years. And I doff my hat to Ben Stokes, and I wish him the best in terms of his second innings, because if there's one English cricketer who's always grabbed my attention, it was Kevin Peterson. And the next man now is, of course, Ben Stokes. And no offense to Joe Root or any of the great names who played for England, but these two have been really, really good. Notoriously wacky off the field, but incredibly skillful on the field. And the numbers don't lie. I mean, for his average in terms of the bat and the ball, to have that difference between it is just phenomenal. So he'll be in that bracket of Callis, Sobers, Botham, Kapil Dev, and that elite club. But just a thought on Test cricket now that one other amazing player has bit the dust. What next? Let me know in the comments. I'll quickly finish off this live by taking some of the YouTube comments going on in this live show right now. Appreciate everyone joining us, and really go check out my other shows. I've spoken about various topics, nothing really short shelf life, beg your pardon, or long shelf life. So it just gives you an incline and a feeling of what I literally talk about on my YouTube lives. Sanjay saying here at time. Yeah, Sanjay, I saw that. Sorry, I didn't take your comments earlier. Sorry that after 10:30, I'll need to watch Brazil and Japan so we can chat in the live show, but I'll be watching. No worries, because even I'm going to go to watch the Brazil-Japan game. Apparently, a couple of my friends have called me to watch a game and create some content about it. I might quickly go for like an hour and come back, depending on how I feel. Very tired as well today, so might take it easy. Might make a decision in the next 5-10 minutes. Right, it's sad. Still remember the Headingley Chase banger innings, saying Rishabh Rao. Yeah, man. I mean, Ben Stokes. I mean, tell me in the comments what his best test innings was. Was it that? I think many people will say hands down it was. But I think there was early on, I think 2013, the Ashes, he had a phenomenal 100 against the likes of Mitch Johnson and that Australian attack at Perth. And I think it was the old Perth backers. So Ben Stokes, for me, has had great moments wearing a test cricket shirt for England. And I think that one stands tall for me. There have been times where he's just gone on and on and on, bowling 12 over, 13, 15 over spells, which have been fantastic as well. Ben Stokes as a test captain was surprisingly good, saying Aniruddha Krishna. Thank you for that comment. And he was surprisingly good. Maybe the results didn't go in his way because, like I said, 27 wins out of 49 tests doesn't really reflect well. But some of the wins and the manners of that win was there to see. But double century was very, very good. There was, of course, he's got a double ton in South Africa, wasn't it? 258, his highest test score, which still stands till today. So that will be at the top of minds for Ben Stokes fans. Bro, can you make me a moderator? I'll try to. Once we do get to a certain level of viewership on YouTube, I'll definitely make some of you guys moderators so you guys can help me out and moderate the chat. Hello, saying Shubham Kulkarni. Hello to you. And you didn't follow me, sir. I'm disappointed. I'm sorry. Should I follow you? I know you told me the last live, but I've been very busy in the last couple of days and hence not that many videos as well today. So watch out for more Instagram content this week. Plan to go to some new academies and flesh out some amazing content indeed. Professional career done now, and now local gangster, saying Aniruddha Srikanth about Ben Stokes. But look, Stokes has always been righteous in his approach, whether the public views him guilty or not. I think he's a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, and I fully back him, Ben Stokes, indeed. Do you watch the Maharaja Trophy? I do watch the Maharaja Trophy. I'm actually pissed off with a few teams of Maharaja Trophy, which I'll tell you about later. I don't want to throw them under the bus right now. I might be doing some stuff still when they do come to Bangalore. But yeah, there you have it. A short and sweet live. I've kept it rather short as well, even though we can go on and on about Ben Stokes and Test cricket and having chapter after chapter with regards to this topic. But in about 7 minutes' time, it is going to be Brazil versus Japan, Boteko versus Shiro, and of course, the Seleção against the Samurai Blues. You know, I want an upset. I'm not saying that because I went to Japan last year. I'm saying that because I'm backing Japan as my underdog team this year. I got given that team with regards to a random pick with lots of my other friends. So if I do have Japan at least make the semifinals, I get a certain amount of money. Anyway, hope you guys have had fun on this Monday Ben Stokes Test Cricket chat. More to come, random topics. The Wimbledon has started. The World Cup is going to start now in terms of the knockout phases. Last time we saw Canada win, and that's always good for a host country to do that. Anything else in my mind? Nothing else. Tomorrow I will alert you guys about the topic. I have a few on my mind, but I'm yet to lock in what that exactly will be. Until the next time, it's a goodbye from me. I don't know why my camera just keeps phasing out. Is it better now? It is better now. Yeah, we're back. Anywho, pleasure as always. What's your prediction for Brazil-Japan? I want Japan to win. The heart says Japan. The head says Brazil. I wouldn't mind a 2-2 extra time penalties and then Brazil to win, provided Cunha scores the winning penalty and then does the little Cunha jig. Right. That's all of my shenanigans and shambles from this Stokesy live. Until the next time, so goodbye from us. We'll see you soon. Cheers, guys. Oh, wait. Did I end the live stream?